So I'm getting on the road right now, and my reps got 9 book calls today. So that's another component of this is, yes, it allows you to breathe and allows you to think strategically. It allows you to recapture some of your life back. Like be on the road. I know I'm going to be frantic. I'll probably be on my laptop, but I have my team taking calls, crushing skulls while I'm on the road headed to the anniversary, and I don't think that could have happened without you guys descending with your process, the done for you, the all the stuff that you provide. So to everybody out there, my name is Yousef Badou, and I started this business about 4 years ago, getting close to 5 now. And basically my background is I don't have a business background. I didn't come from the industry. I didn't have this burning desire as a 2-year-old child in the womb to be a business person. That was not me. I'd served in the United States Marine Corps for a lot of years and did a lot of deployments over there as an infantryman. So not the usual business background. Towards the end of my time with the military, I landed in a really great program that basically taught our deploying service members how to build situational awareness. We were dealing with really dynamic threats out there, very mysterious threats. It wasn't like a conventional war where the enemy was wearing uniforms. So we had to teach our guys how to look at a crowd of people, figure out who the bad apples are in this entire crowd of innocent people, and then go from there. So that really got me fired up for a lot of years. I flew all over the world teaching our military for a lot of years, lived out of a suitcase for a long time. And that's when I really realized, after training all the militaries, like, my God, people need these skills. Our everyday communities, we have active shooter events, and our houses of worship absolutely need this. So I decided to start the business. I left the military and left that world. And I still teach military, law enforcement and whatnot, but I focus all my training now in getting this information into our communities, because military, law enforcement, people that have been in that life, at least they have some type of training. They might not have my specific training, but they got something. But our communities and our basic population are starting from zero. So that's what really got me fired up, is getting this information out to our communities. Started the business. On the business side, I can't tell you, Mike, how cliche my business background was, my journey through it. It's like the catch lines, the bumper stickers you see on there, it's all true. There's no fancy voodoo. There's no secret. There's no trick. It's about, working hard and thinking smarter, and applying yourself. So the first year I took off and I wanted to take on the world by myself. And, about a year of getting punched in the face, realized how painful it was. Second year, started really thinking about, my God, this needs to be a real business, a scalable business where I'm not trading my physical time for money. The biggest lie I ever got taught growing up, Mike, is that we have to trade a physical unit of our time for money. And that's the farthest from the truth. So that's what really got me down the rabbit hole of going, all right, we need to figure this out. I need to war game this and strategize this, play the long game. And that's when business was still hard, still pain in the butt, but that's when things started to start really getting fun, because it turned into a Rubik's Cube that you're kind of trying to figure out.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. And that's definitely how I like to look at it as well, is like, it's just a puzzle, right? I've always viewed business as a puzzle. And like, anytime I'm in a part where I'm getting like just, the shit kicked out of me by the business and I'm very frustrated, like, it's always, people ask me why, like, what are you doing all this for? It's like, well, it's a puzzle. I want to see what happens when you solve the puzzle. Like, it's more of my innate curiosity oftentimes that's driving it than like anything else, which is cool. Now, so how far into it, you said it's been about 5 years in the making to get to this point, right? So how far into it was it that you recognized, like, crap, I'm trading time for money and this thing's not going to scale?
I got really lucky in that, again, not having that business background, so many things in business are counterintuitive, and it takes someone to show you. It literally does. It takes someone to show you and take your head and go, look. And then once you see it once, you can't unsee it. It sticks.
Smart,
if you're smart.
You'll see it and it won't land, and then you got to make the mistake that you go, shoot, that's why I saw that.
Yeah. Me personally, I have to get punched in the face 3 to 7 times before I figure it out, and then it sticks. So, so I got lucky. I got lucky and I ran into a mentor. This mentor basically saw what I was doing. He loved the message to it. He had a complete business background, and he came to me and said, look, we have to connect. Like, I could sit here and pitch you and do this stuff and tell you all these great things, but what I need you to do right now is just shut up and hitch your wagon to mine, and we're going to go for a ride. And that's what really started the actual scalability, actual strategy, actual putting scalable tactics in place. And it's been a ramp up ever since. I've loved it. Business is great. But at this point in my life and my business with that ramp up, it's exciting and it's fun. But everyone, you know, they look inboard, they look at you not knowing your context. They go, wow, you're making it, man. You're just doing great. You've figured it out in life. And in reality, once you do build a scalable business, a lot of people don't talk about what to do when it works. Everyone talks about how not to fail, but what happens when it works? My analogy is it turns into this caged lion that you're locked in the cage with, and God forbid you turn your back on it for 2 seconds, it will eat your face. So it's exciting, but yeah.
Yeah, and I think another challenge that I tend to see a lot in the space that we operate in is there's a lot of people who have the knowledge to get to 6 figures or even 7 figures, but there's not that many people that understand the 8-9 figure route.
Absolutely.
So it's really easy to see a lot of folks get stuck at 7 figures, but they never know how to take that success and make it even more success. And so it's really common we see inside of like any type of coaching training style business that a lot of people will stall out at like 2 million is kind of the range, like 1 to 2, 2.5, 3 million is kind of the range that they'll stall out, and they'll just stay there for the rest of their life. And there's a lot of coaches out there or training companies that, you know, they got to $1 million, and then for the next 20, 30 years, they just did $1 million, $2 million a year every year, and then they never actually grew further. And so I definitely think that you have a good point, which is that there's not enough people out there who teach you what happens when it succeeds, because really there's not that many people that even understand and have been on the journey to 8 figures more than once, you know?
Yeah.
So, and it's only after you start going on that journey, like you said, like it's 3 to 7 times, and now you start to see the patterns. Now you start to really have like your intuition is in alignment with what's counterintuitive. You know,
the real world of business. Yeah. What's really happening. Yeah. It's what you think it is. And then after getting the shit kicked out of you for a while, you go, oh, this is what it really is. And to jump on your point, you said this, Mike, this is how you hooked me. This is how you got me into your orbit, is that you start talking about, hey, you're crushing it. You're doing good. You're doing great. That's awesome. What got you here is not going to get you there. And that is a lesson I'm seeing happening right in front of us right now, because we've added the sales component and the sales rep. We see it scaling. And now I'm looking 3-4 steps ahead going, shit, we're going to hit a brick wall soon. I have to start planning on that side. While they're in the trenches duking it out, now I have time to actually think. And then when I do think, it's like, whoa, this is stuff we need to start doing now to scale past those. So just that right there for your listeners, I'm talking to them right now. I'm like, just know that in business, there are these like plateaus. They're set in stone, almost not stone, but they're going to happen to you. And if you don't know that they even exist, you're going to run into that brick wall and go, well, that sucked. Guess I tapped it. Here's my peak, you know, when all it takes is someone to go, no, you just need to learn new things now.
Yep. And for anyone listening too, there's a huge gap. Most people will hit 100 grand a month, 150 grand a month, that kind of window. And then that's the next one. And it's going from that 100, 150 grand a month into 300 more per month. That requires an organizational shift where oftentimes the org's going to move from being one big team of like 10 to 12 people into a team of teams. And you have to start to build in leadership teams. And just like what you said, you're out of the trenches on the day-to-day of the sales. So now you have the freedom to focus further down the road. But what's going to happen is then you're going to have to start delegating, focusing further down the road. So the time for money obviously became a quick bottleneck. And then once you got through that and you started to structure your delivery properly, what was the next one that you started to encounter?
The next big problem, I would have to say initially client success, because and that's something we're still dealing with today, is that, long story short, our course teaches people how to do the situational awareness to learn it, but also provide it in training format, generate revenue by training your community, your churches and whatnot. So there's that component of it. So what I didn't have enough of, and we still have this issue, is people ringing the bell within our community. So I'm showing people how to use these skills. They get excited and they're using it. I talked to them on the phone on our onboarding. They're using it. They're getting awards. They're doing all that. They're generating a bunch of money. They're doing great stuff, but they're not ringing the bell in the group, and they're not showing the other instructors that. I just didn't have the time anymore. So that's why we're dealing with it. Now we're backing off. And now is, when we get the sales rep firing and they're fire and forget, now my next thing is going attacking, all right, client success, getting them to ring that bell, showing them these skills actually work, because we know they work. So that was the big one. And we started instituting little things like an onboarding call. We were having disconnects, and just that one right there, that trick right there is absolute gold. If you're ever having a problem like that, put in an onboarding call. You're talking with someone, they have a name, they have a face, and just that right there can probably solve 95% of your customer service issues.
Yeah, and one of the things that we tend to see a lot, and it happens to a lot of clients too when they start to hit their customer success issues, is a lot of clients, they start to get customer service issues or customer success issues, and then their immediate instinct is to try and fix the customer success problem that's occurring at that moment, as opposed to fixing where it started. Now, okay, and then so onboarding call was one of your tweaks. Was there anything else that you implemented that you noticed really helped you start to close that gap more?
Yeah. Let me frame it like this. This is for everybody listening. Obviously, most of you are going to be in the online space, so I'm going to speak to that. Is have surveys in the beginning, maybe all the time, have surveys everywhere. When you're running your people through the funnel, have a survey everywhere when they're getting through the module. And it's like a temperature check to see what they're doing. So everybody hears me say that and they're like, all right, have a survey everywhere, check their temperature. But not only that, not only for your clients and your buyers and the people that love you, but have a survey, have some type of function to capture those people that you're not converting. And, basically, we have a survey that fires to those certain people after they have, and it just asks them the question like, hey, we noticed you clicked on this. We did that. You did that. Just wondering, why didn't you buy? And they'll pour their hearts out, and a lot of the time in that, just for my product, a lot of time is like, oh, I completely forgot about it. I wanted to do this. And now that dead cold lead turns into a hot lead. They're like, oh, it just slipped my mind. So having that survey information, it's gold. It is absolute gold, because it can really help your decision making as you're making them. That was another implementation.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes as business owners, we're funny, right? We try to, we sit down and strategize, and we get our team together and we talk about what's the customer experiencing and all this stuff sometimes. And all you have to do is just ask them, and then they'll tell you exactly what to do.
Literally.
And instead, like, so many people are afraid to just talk to their customers, and then they're spending all this time in like, theory land. Or did you have initial resistance to huddling? What did you see happen through huddles, or kind of what was your experience with the huddles?
Yeah, I'm the opposite on this one, so I'll consider myself lucky on this. I love the huddles. I think you could gather, I could talk to a brick wall. I'm a people person, So I love seeing the guys. They're great people too, talk about building relationships. They're awesome people that I would go have a beer with. So I love jumping on there in the morning and getting them fired up and being in the support role. Okay. It's like what you said about that woman. She said, oh, I had this, my goal is to be hands off. Yeah, sure. That's my goal too, but it's not probably going to happen for a while. There's a lot of crap you got to eat. So is with that in mind, what can I do now to support them? So when I say my reps are in the trenches, I'm on the other side of the trench line. Anything they need, providing sales missiles, resources, PDFs. So it's not as sexy as like, yeah, I got my reps now, I'm just going to go to the yacht now. No, you're the team captain. And if you miss a call from your rep, like, hey, I need this. Hey, I need you to send up whatever it is. It's like you're screwing it up again. So That was a component of it.
Cool. Well, what about? I'm curious to hear. One thing that I always like to ask is, so you got your reps. Once you were introduced to your reps, um, obviously one of the things that we do is we have you rank the reps and then determine who you think is going to be the best fit for you or
Mm.
not. So one of my questions for you is, did it turn out the way you thought it would?
You know what? From the interview stage, I actually no, I'd actually weighted everything opposite. The people that I had picked out, we actually didn't even end up bringing on because of some backgrounds. But I was surprised. I was surprised by the outcome. There was definitely a component of that. Yeah.
So it's interesting because, like, partly why I always like to ask this is we've done this to the point now we put up at least usually we're about a couple hundred to 300 reps every single month on offers, right? And our
Mm-hmm.
team can't predict it, and we're often when we take the four and we go, okay, let's rank them 1 through 4, we're often wrong. But what
Mm-hmm.
we
Mm-hmm.
know is if we put up 4, we land one. Like the math on the large scale works, but then on an
Mm-hmm.
individual basis, it's unpredictable. It's crazy. I can never get it right, and neither can Moose. No one on our team can.
I
What would
think
you say?
I yeah, but I think it's a component of like I had my information, how I sold, how I did business that I provided to the reps, and then what's a really cool happy surprise is when they go Roger that they're following training, they're not deviating, they're not like going completely off script, but they're utilizing skills that they've developed in their life. And it might be a different. I came from script work. That's how I learned. So I'm in your face, not super aggressive, but then you run into someone with a consultative selling background. And I had never exposed to that. And I watched that voodoo happen in front of me. I'm like, whoa, this is awesome. So it's cool to see where, like, okay, yeah, you crushed it for a long time, but there's other people with other skills out there too. So to have that, watch that happen, and that's really cool to see. And you guys bring that component in. That's another thing I can't say enough of, the onboarding phase. Everyone, anybody listening to this, if you're on the fence, you're worried about like the rep and dealing with the rep and the huddle. It's not that. The gold is in having your organization descend on mine and then go, yeah, yeah, yeah. These are all these gophers we have to attack. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Just be on the phone on Wednesdays for this meeting. We got the rest. So I love that backup. It's hugely um, sped up the transition time.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, like what a lot of people don't realize is on our team. I mean, there's well over 100 hours of done for you stuff that we're doing on our end, and so that's 100 hours that you and your org don't have to spend doing stuff,
Yep.
right? Which is huge, especially
Absolutely.
when you're doing something so big. There's so many moving parts. You need all hands on deck and as much like
And so to
attention.
put a cap on that, Mike, to put a cherry on that, they're rocking and rolling. They're doing their thing. I'm leaving in about 2 hours. I'm getting on the road and headed up north to Santa Barbara because it's me and my wife's wedding anniversary. And so I'm getting on the road right now. And my reps got 9 book calls today. Yeah, another chunk of calls tomorrow. So that's another component of this is yes, it allows you to breathe and allows you to think strategically and do all that stuff, but allows you to recapture some of your life back. Like I'm be on the road. I know I'm going to be frantic. I'll probably be on my laptop, but I have my team taking calls, crushing skulls while I'm on the road headed to the anniversary, and I don't think that could have happened without you guys descending with your process, the done for you, the all the stuff that you provide.
Yeah, and the cool thing is like when you get there, there's a good chance you'll have a deal lined up as well. And like
Mm-hmm.
we've had clients literally have babies, and while they're having a baby, they come out to see like pay in fulls. We've had people regularly get on a plane on the other side of the plane. They flew across the country and they closed 2 deals. Like in those types of
Yeah, that's
moments are
awesome.
so awesome. Yeah, it's
Yep.
really cool, and it's even cooler because like that's all the sales reps want to do too. So they're
Yeah.
just as happy as you are. And in
Yep.
their mind, they're like, I don't want to do fulfillment and I don't want to generate leads and I don't want to have to do anything. Just give me the calls. I'll give you clients and let's each play our role. And for them, they're getting to do exactly what they want to do. And then it frees you up to do the stuff that you want to do. And the big thing is, a lot of people don't think about it like this, but for all those kids' birthdays you sacrifice, for all those anniversaries you sacrifice, for all those vacations you don't take, like the more that stuff starts accruing, the more and more likely you getting burnt out and burning your business to the ground becomes a real possibility. Okay, and so one thing just to understand as well, like before you had sales reps, where were you pacing kind of revenue wise? And then now that you have a couple reps on board, what are you pacing?
We're still going through a little bit of transition with our advertising because Facebook's gotten a little goofy on us. But basically, all the good numbers I have is, I'll be honest, Mike, I was clearing 25-30% conversion on the phone. And now I'm everything I throw at these guys are basically, I think I checked it today, they're clearing 57% of the phone calls I throw at them. 57%.
That's insane.
Still early. We're still getting into our groove, but like that's all I gotta say. Like, I could add flowery, this, that, the other thing. 57, they're like beasts. Everything I throw at them, they eat. So that's my one testimonial for that.
And so now, I guess for you, we've talked a little bit about it, but what do you see being like your next evolution? What do you see being your next big problem that you have to overcome?
Yeah. So big picture wise, right now we're direct to consumer. We've had market match and we fit, and it's scary, and we're going to keep going with it. But my vision has always been to get the situational awareness skills. Right now, I'm making instructors to go out there and teach us stuff and generate revenue in our communities. We've got about 400 strong, so we're doing it, but it's not happening fast enough. So in my head, I need to transition not away from, but add on B2B to my business. So that for me, not having the B2B background, that's going to be a big hurdle. And those sales cycles are a lot longer. I'm used to the fastest route to profit. And so those don't work fast at all. So having enough salt in the mine to handle that sales cycle, having the right rep, which you guys provided to me with the B2B angle, and who knows that realm, who knows the language. And then we're going to put some together and we're going to attack. We're going to be targeted and we're going to attack our B2B, but you got to have a hell of a team to go after. I mean, yeah, you can get paid, but it's a lot more work to get those. So that's where I see the vision and the next hurdles.
Yeah, that's the challenge, right? Like the enterprise deals are great, and usually where you're at is when I would recommend bringing in enterprise. Is the thing about enterprise is that you have to have a big upfront investment to get the deal, and there's a heavy concentration risk because one or two deals, and then if the deal falls through, then
on a maybe,
yeah, on a maybe, and you're putting up all that investment for it. And so generally it's best to do what you're doing right now, which is you get the business to entrepreneur or the business to consumer or the business to very small business with the fast decision timelines. You get that ramped, running, humming, producing enough profit, and then you start to borrow that cash flow to reinvest for those big whale deals. And then you can run it for the time it needs long enough to make it work, to make it kind of come around the corner. And then if one big client quits, it doesn't matter because you have a whole org that's maintaining everything for you. So
altitude.
And then if anyone wants to connect with you at all, how would they go about finding you and connecting with you?
Yeah, we're all over the place, but the best thing you can do for a free resource is you can head on over to our Facebook group. It's a threat detection group on Facebook. You just apply for it. We'll invite you to ask a couple questions and we'll invite you in. I drop a lot of free resources in the threat detection group. That's just more for learning threat detection, situational awareness, behavior analysis, how to keep your family safe. About 10,000 strong. So just get in there. If you want to go the instructor route or you want more information, that's our kind of our nexus for all information. You can get to us all from there. But it's a ton of free resources. We drop a lot of stuff in there, that threat detection group.
Love it. Thank you, Yousef. This has been an incredible interview. You dropped a ton of gems, so I know anyone listening out there is really going to be able to pick up a lot of things. And one thing I did want to mention is if anyone out there is watching this and you have a military background and you're in the right situation, especially, like what I've noticed is military people tend to do better in coaching programs because you guys are really good at just executing the play and not second guessing everything. So for whatever reason, I've noticed across all the programs we even work with, when you get military people in programs, they tend to perform really well for exactly that reason. They know how to just say, okay, here's the process. All right, I'm going to run this route, get it done, come back, and then say, done, what's next? And that's exactly how you've shown up, and that's made the process so easy for us. And we're excited to see, as you continue to grow, what's next for you. So thank you, Yousef.
Thanks for the invite, Mike. Thanks for everything you've provided us up into this point and everything you're going to provide as we move along our journey. So your team's awesome. Bree and the team have been fantastic, especially Brianna. She's been with me every step of the way, and it's just I get a big warm and fuzzy dealing with you or anybody on the team. So thanks again, Mike.
That's what it's all about. Thanks, Yousef. Yeah. Have a great
all right,
rest of
bye-bye.
your day.
You too.
That's it for this week's interview. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did enjoy this interview, we do one like it every single week inside of our free Facebook group called 7-Figure Agency Owners and High Ticket Coaches. So if you're an agency owner, coach, service provider, and you're really wanting to scale to 7 figures and beyond, join us inside the group. It's coachingsales.com/group. Again, coachingsales.com/group. See you on the inside.